New tonight, some advice on combating a highly aggressive nuisance that is infesting roughly 75 of Tennessee's 95 counties, so most of them. Some of you are very familiar with fire ants, but we have a lot of newer transplants to the mid-state that may not be as familiar, and that could be a dangerous thing. Joining us now with some advice on how to approach them is Dr. Karen Vail with the Agriculture Institute at the University of Tennessee. Dr. Vail, thank you so much for talking with us.
Oh, glad to be here. Help folks to understand fire ants just a little bit better.
Let's start out with how you distinguish whether you got, a fire ant or some other kind of an ant, because the fire ants are particularly nasty.
They are. Those stings can be create a burning sensation. That's where they get their name, fire ants, from that fiery sensation from that venom when it's injected. Fire ants build a large mound, and that's usually the first thing that people notice.
That's what you're up against. Now, you mentioned the bites. They can be nasty. Now, I know it hurts and can sting and all that, but if you are allergic, it could be a whole lot more than just inconvenient.
Right. The ant usually, if you touch a mound, the ants will boil out by the hundreds at one time, right? They grab you with their mandibles and they whip that abdomen around and inject that sting. And for most people, you're going to get the formation of a pustule. But for some people, less than 3% of the population in general can be hypersensitive. And they can have difficulty breathing and get low blood pressure. And it can be very serious if they aren't treated for that allergic response.
Now, if people see these dirt mounds either in their yard or maybe in a pasture, what do you recommend they do?
Well, around homes, we have many options. And probably the easiest one for folks to use is to use a fire ant bait. It doesn't take a lot of equipment. If you have less than 20 mounds in an acre, then it's easy just to take a fire ant bait and treat around that mound, not on top of the mound, but around it where those foraging tunnels come to the surface. This time of year, we say to bait in the evening, or bait when temperatures are between 68 and 86.
Now, is this bait expensive? And I gather you can get it at the hardware store?
You can get fire ant bait, and there's many different types of bait, and we won't go into all the details there, but you can get fire ant bait at the retail store, at the hardware store, just about anywhere.
This is some great advice. And one last thing, I know the Ag Institute will actually offer some advice to landowners that's specific to them. How do people get in touch with you?
Well, actually, we have a whole website dedicated to fire ants. So fireants.tennessee.edu. They should be able to find get answers to any questions they may have about fire ants.
Perfect, and we will direct them that way. Dr. Karen Vail with the Agriculture Institute at the University of Tennessee, thank you again for being with us.
Okay, anytime.